Ladies and gentlemen, I proudly welcome you to Marley State of Mind. You know what the fuck it is. You know what time it is, motherfucker. Let's go.
It's a motherfucking podcast. Yeah, it's a motherfucking podcast. Hey, it's a goddamn podcast. Yeah, it's a motherfucking podcast, bitch. Yeah, it's a podcast, bitch. It's a goddamn podcast.
What's going on, people? We're back to the dopest podcast in the world, Marley State of Mind, shooting live out of Bunch of Bull Studios. Today's guest is a very special good friend of mine, producer extraordinaire, engineer extraordinaire. I like to, whenever I have guests on, I like to say how I came across them or how I found them. I know for you, you're recording the homie Shawnsky, of course. And he played something for me. I'm like, damn, this is clean, bro. Like, who was on this? He's like, yeah, Garrett was out of town, and I linked up with JD down there. JD. It's like, yeah, and it was super crisp, bro. So ever since that moment, I was like, I gotta rock with dude. I gotta lock in with him, so I could sound like this because it was crispy. You recorded idlabs, of course. That's the studio that we've been going to for a long time. So it was only right. And then you came here and graced us with your presence. So thanks, man. Thanks for coming out. How you feeling, bro?
Absolutely. What's up, Uniontown?
Yeah, indeed.
No, feeling good, man. It's Friday night. Just excited to chop it up, talk some music.
Hell yeah, bro. I know you got a lot of cool stories. Recording at the legendary idlabs. You probably see a lot of it's one of the premier hip hop studios in Pittsburgh. For those who don't know, I'm sure you see a lot of incredible talent come through there.
It's crazy, man. So I started there in 2018. So it's been 5 years now?
5 years now.
Almost 5 years, because I started in the fall of 2018. But man, it's crazy. I've just grown so much as a producer and an engineer since then.
Right.
I was barely. I just turned 22 at that point, man.
Oh, that's crazy.
26 years old now. A lot changes since then.
Absolutely.
But
I'm sure a lot changes with you too, right? Just as a person.
Yeah.
Personal growth.
Here and there. I don't know. I feel like that job especially, it really helped you grow up fast. Once I was in there, I kind of established how I was going to run things, and then just had to run with it. Yeah, man. It's been awesome, though. It's the best job you could ever imagine.
Oh, man. I can't even imagine. I always thought it'll be hard because it's strenuous, right? You have a lot of long hours, a lot of long days.
But you got to think about it. It's if it's something you love doing, man.
Yeah.
If you were doing this all day, every day, it wouldn't be a job.
It wouldn't be a job. That's real.
Of course, there's those terrible sessions, but those are very few and far in between now.
What can make a session terrible?
It's not even if the artist is bad, but just some people are just really difficult to deal with.
Yeah, difficult to work with.
I wouldn't even say if their music's bad. Of course, if their music bad, that could make the session suck.
Right.
But it's more so just the vibe of the room.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah. Does it weird you out when people come in there super deep to sessions? Why are we doing this?
You know what? Not really, because that's some people's thing.
Yeah.
But if it's 20 people in my small little room, dude, you're not getting anything done.
Right. Yeah. It's going to be difficult to work that way.
Yeah. If you want to come here and have a party, that's cool. But if you're trying to get music done, you probably shouldn't bring 20 people.
No, agreed, man. That's very difficult. I know I don't.
You and Sean, you just pull up by yourselves all the
time.
Man.
Yeah, bro. I don't, for me personally, whenever I'm recording, I hate to have a lot of people around. I feel like it kind of messes up my vibe if I don't get the reactions I want, or if I think I'm making some fire and people are just looking and they're not moving or something like that. It's super frustrating to catch a vibe like that. Then you start to second guess yourself. And it might not even be the case. It might just be it's not what they're in the mood for or whatever happens. So I've never been a fan of that.
Much like when you're tripping on mushrooms, it just has to be someone that you're comfortable with.
Exactly. Because you get self-conscious, especially, like me, I like to smoke during my sessions too. And if I'm smoking and I get too in my head, then I'll really start to get paranoid, damn.
That can make you super anxious.
Yeah, exactly. You get it. So that's kind of my thinking with that. But for you, how did you even get this path into music? What was your first musical endeavor? What made you decide to pick engineering and production as a path musically?
Well, man, that's tough. I started playing guitar in the third grade,
mm-hmm.
and then from there into middle school, I started messing around with beats.
Okay.
And that kind of just transitioned into learning piano as well. And I don't know, eventually the next step logically is kind of just recording people at that point.
Right. Right. Now, did you have like a musical family? Did you have musical influence in your household?
Not really, but they were really supportive of what I wanted to do musically. Like my mom like bought me my first guitar for like $100 like when I was in the third grade.
Yeah,
Like
hell yeah.
they paid for me like for a year of lessons, but then after that, like I just went off on my own.
Yeah.
So like they weren't really musically inclined, but they were definitely supportive of me, being musically inclined and trying to learn a few instruments. Like that was super helpful.
Yeah, that's a big part of it, right? Is having that base, having people to nurture your talent, having people to nurture what you're trying to do. And I'm sure, like for you or anyone who's doing it, like it can be tough if you don't have that support, or it can be damn near impossible in some cases if you don't have that support.
Right. Like if I didn't start taking guitar lessons in third grade for that whole year, like I don't know if I would even be like a music producer now.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah,
Like that one small thing just transformed into everything else,
hell yeah.
which turned into like a job for me, which is
It's
crazy.
turned into a job, and it's like, and like I said, you're at one of the premier studios in Pittsburgh, so and you're from the area, so that has to be like a crazy head trip. Now, did you go to school for engineering?
No, so I went to Duquesne University, but when I was 18 years old, I didn't really want to become like a music engineer. I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. So I just ended up going to college and like playing football at Duquesne.
Mm-hmm.
I studied like a few different things. I started in teaching, but then I ended up in communications with like the degree.
Okay.
But by that time, like I graduated college, I was already working at the studio by my junior year. So
Okay.
I just continued to work at the studio after that.
How did you come across the opportunity even to get into idlabs to engineer?
So that's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Basically, it was the year 2018. Do you know the artist Campiola?
Yes, yeah. I'm familiar
So
with
I was
Campiola.
working.
Shout out Campiola.
Yeah, exactly. I was working a bunch with him, and we were working on like, I think it was like 2 of these final projects, and we just kept going to ID labs. And it turned out that his engineer Sayez was like leaving at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of just like perfect timing. Like they needed someone to replace, and then me and Garrett Hunter were able to step up since we were like working with Camp, and like we were already been in the building a lot, producing. So
right,
it kind of just like worked out, like perfect timing.
That's awesome, man. So was it E that approached you directly?
No,
about the opportunity.
We asked Sayez if we could like possibly like rent out the room or something like when he was leaving, because we knew he was like exiting music. So I think we ended up shooting Edie an email, and like Sayez is like, yeah, like you should like let these guys,
You gave it a cosign.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I'm sure that went far because Sayez and E, those guys have made some
they
classics.
Go way back. Yeah, exactly. So man, this happened so long ago though. I'm like kind of fuzzy on like the details exactly, but it was like something along the lines of that.
Yeah, no, all good, man. We got time. We're here with JD. JD made this, so it's we got to take our time for sure, bro.
No, we got a lot of stories to dive into, man.
Oh man, so much. So I'm sure like, so you're intern. You're well, not even interning. You're like just getting started there. You're doing this. When did you realize like, damn, I'm actually good at this? Like I have an ear for this.
Well, that's the thing, man. It's like for a while, like in 2018, engineering was still pretty new to me, so I was not good at it at that point. Like I still had like a long way to go. Like I probably didn't get really nice at it until like a few years later, honestly.
Oh, nice. Like that's
took
big to admit. Yeah,
it took some time. But I don't know. It's like there was a moment when I realized like I could make money off of music, and that was like sometime in college when I was working at the studio. I was like, man, this is paying way better than any other job I could have.
Did you have another job at that time?
No, because I was still at university and playing football at university, so it was like impossible.
What position did you play?
Else. I was a kicker and punter.
Okay. Yeah. Did you play soccer?
I did, but I quit like freshman year of high school.
Okay, I know most kickers play some soccer too.
No, so, of course.
For sure. That's what's up, man.
But man, I definitely stayed busy. Like college was a crazy time. It was like trying to balance music, being a student, and like also being a music producer. Like it was too much.
I'd imagine that those things probably helped each other, right? Because you're on a campus. There's probably cats that want to rap or guys around that are trying to. You could build your clientele that way as well, huh?
You would think, but I don't think anybody in college has money.
Right? Yeah. True. Yeah. True. Good point. No, for sure. So you stumbled, you not even stumbled, I guess so, stumbled on this opportunity. You're recording at ID Labs. Whenever you went to, well, I guess there's no way not to know. Did you understand how big of an opportunity that was at the time?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I knew about that place like since I grew up, like listening to Wiz and Mac. Like, I definitely knew what was up.
Yeah, and I guess the plaques on the wall kind of give it away too, right?
Yeah, I already knew that was like probably the best studio in Pittsburgh at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. Did that make you kind of self-conscious knowing that you weren't where you wanted to be as an engineer and knowing that I'm in this place where people are expecting quality every time?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but the cool thing is like that really pushes you when you're in a room full of like really talented producers and artists, like that pushes you to become like to the next level, because you might think you're good until you step into that building.
Yeah.
Then there's people that are just like way above the level you are.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so that kind of helped you want to step your game up too, huh?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
What type of stuff did you do to like perfect your craft? Were you watching a lot of YouTube videos? Were you like watching some of these other guys, shadowing some of these other guys who were doing it?
That's the thing, man. Is like I know a lot of cats learn from like YouTube nowadays, but I think I just learned from mostly like watching other people at the studio and other engineers work, like Big Germ or Sam Conturo, like those guys. Like that's the best way to learn, probably, is just watching other people work. At least for me, you know.
And how awesome is it that you have guys like that as mentors? You mentioned a Big Germ, and he's been engineering for so long, so many big names, so many big acts with the sound, and he's learning from people like E. Dan, who's who he is. So I'd imagine like that type of hands-on training is better than anything you can get from YouTube.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just watching like anybody else's sessions in that building, like you'll be able to learn something.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, and is that pretty much? Did you pick their brain as you're going through? Like, hey, what are you doing here? How did you get this to sound like that?
Not even. It's just like when you're watching on screen, you could just tell what they're doing,
right?
And like you don't even have to ask why. You already know. Like you already have the understanding,
right?
And I was gonna say too, even like Callie, Sean, and like Be With The Heat. Like I think I've learned something from like every single like one of those engineers in there.
Yeah,
that's what's cool though, is like everybody does things a little bit differently, and you get to pick up like these little tips and tricks from everybody. Then you kind of build your own little toolkit like around that.
So 2018, you're there. You're recording. You're taking these different sessions on, and not too long after you're there, I guess pandemic hit, huh?
Yeah, I guess it was like 2 years basically.
2 years.
Yeah.
How much did that change what you had going on? Like, was it difficult at that time? Was there a lot of uncertainty? Because I remember at that time, like even recording and not even knowing like if the studio was going to be open. I think I had a session booked, and like they had to we had to like cancel the session, like because they weren't allowing anyone to record at that time. How was that time for you? Like, what were you feeling like?
That's another time that was like kind of fuzzy, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like I remember we were closed all of April for sure, but I think there was a point where like we were allowed to have like one person, like towards the end of the month of April, like we were able to have one person in the studio
for sure,
just like one-on-ones, and like I think people were wearing masks.
Yeah.
But then after that, like May, I think that's when it was pretty much like the same routine as usual, but maybe we just had like a limit of like 2 or 3 people in the room.
Yeah.
It was still just like trying to keep the numbers down, like, as much.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because like 2 years later, and it's like, man, that seems like such a long time ago.
Seems like such a long time ago, yeah.
Now that you brought it up, like I almost forgot we had to do all this extra stuff. Like I remember there was definitely a certain period of time where we were not allowed to have people at all.
Yeah.
It was mostly the month of April and half of the month of March.
Yeah, man, it was such a
really
crazy
uncertain
time. And like I remember like because no one really knew what was going on. So like when you see these things shutting down, you seeing like the police coming in and like, no, you cannot do anything anymore.
It's like, man, I got to go to work. I need money. Like,
yeah, yeah, and you're curious like how am I gonna get by? Especially for someone who like you who depends on people to you're direct to consumer. Like you're not a third party. Like you need people around you in order to do what you're doing. Like I guess you can still mix and master and do things like that. But
if you were thinking about it, like if you're recording, you're in a totally different room anyway. Like it didn't really matter that much. But I don't know. It was just like it was a weird time where I don't know, people were acting crazy. So
yeah,
just had to go with the flow about that.
Yeah,
there was like not much we could do.
No, not at all.
But I don't know. After that, like people were really excited to get back in the studio after COVID. Like,
could you tell? Could you see the difference like pre-COVID in the amount of sessions you had as opposed to like post-COVID?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
like it was sad looking at the schedule in that April where there was like nobody there.
Yeah,
like I'm trying to think back. Like there was only like maybe like 3 or 4 people I recorded at the end of the month, just because like it's still. I don't know. It felt weird. Like there was still like not a lot of people around. Like people felt weird about coming to the studio too. It was really uncertain.
Yeah. No, I couldn't even, like I said, I couldn't even imagine being in your profession at that time. And like we've seen so many venues close because they couldn't have live performances and things like that. Like
Weird time for artists too, man. That sucked.
weird time for artists, right? And a lot of artists make their bread by touring, you know. So it's a tough thing to it was a tough thing for us to try to work around. Like a lot of people could work from home and do things like that, but as artists, you don't have that option. But people got creative though, right? They did some live streaming concerts and things like that.
Right. Like, dude, I remember Fed even did like a few live stream concerts. Like we set up like at the studio.
Yeah,
Like through like Amazon Twitch or something like that. Like it was cool.
like it made people become more innovative, right? It made people become more creative in the way that they're going about it.
But it also changed the landscape for rappers in general. Like everything's on the internet now, and that
Right.
even like
Right.
that escalated it like 100x.
Yeah, yeah,
Like everything's about going viral now. Like,
yeah,
that's pretty much the key.
yeah. So there's so much I want to get into. I don't want to miss anything. And you know, a thing I like to do is take people through the journey, of course. But I know you have like so many good stories, and we definitely want to make sure we get all the meat of it. Um, but yeah, so you're recording. Definitely want to take it back to that. So you start recording. You're still in school while you're recording. When did you figure out like this is what I'm going to do full time? When did that become a revelation to you? Like this is what it's going to be full time.
Well, the whole time, like while I was in school, the goal was like to try to get enough clients so like I could pay, so I could make like enough money every week that I wouldn't have to get a real job, and that could be my real job. I couldn't tell you exactly like what point that happened, but maybe it was like 2 years later or something. Pretty much just when the pandemic was hitting, probably.
Wow.
And like. But it's all good because after the pandemic, like everybody wanted to come in and, everyone was happy. Everyone had a ton of money that year too.
It was,
like,
oh yeah. It was a lot of money flowing
Yeah.
around. Huh?
It was crazy.
Can I interest you in
Oh yeah, absolutely.
some herbal refreshments.
But after every stimulus check, like there was so many studio sessions. Like it was insane, man.
That's true. That's
'Cause
true. I
people
didn't
were
even think
"Hey,
about
like,
that.
I want to invest in the music. Like,
Yeah.
It's government money. Why not?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great time to invest in yourself because you have that extra income to do it. So no, I can definitely see that being a good time in business for you. Like post pandemic, you had people probably who never recorded before. Like I can blow a few dollars on this.
That was probably like that was around the moment, like probably the beginning of 2020, like right when I was graduating college too, is like when I was finally ready to take it on as a real job, and that happened. Like I graduated college and then pandemic. Like,
Yeah.
Sucked,
Did you get to walk? Did you get to walk? For
I did.
graduation?
Yeah, I did like a whole year later, I think.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. So you're doing a lot of sessions. You're doing a lot of sessions at this time. You're working at that studio. You're perfecting your craft. You're trying to when did you start shopping beats? You said you started making beats prior to even engineering.
Yeah, I was making beats since like I was like in the 7th grade.
Really?
I mean, these beats were terrible in the
Yeah,
7th
yeah.
grade, but like they were
What program
beats.
were you using at that time?
GarageBand.
GarageBand. Okay.
And that's just like putting together like the GarageBand loops. It wasn't making anything of my own.
Right.
Like that was probably something everybody with a MacBook did at that point.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
Just experimenting.
yeah, exactly.
When did you start taking it more serious, like the beat making?
I probably got Logic like in high school. So
Okay.
like maybe I was like 14 years old, but I don't think I was really good until like maybe college,
Were you making music yourself? Like, what made you decide to get in? Like, were you recording any vocals yourself?
Yeah, just my one friend. Do you know this new kid? He's an artist.
I've heard the name before.
You
I've
maybe seen him on
heard the name.
Instagram or
Yeah,
something. But that was like he went to my high school. We were best friends, and like that was the first guy I recorded. Like we were maybe trying to record vocals since like middle school, like,
Yeah.
around that time. But like, man, quality was terrible. It was just like,
What type of mics were you using?
man, I don't even. He had like this. It was one of those USB microphones you just
Yep,
like
yep.
plug into the computer.
Yeah,
like,
yep.
It did the job,
Were you guys trying to one take everything? Were you punching back then? Like, no,
You
we
know
gotta
what?
one take everything.
No, he would one take it, but he would do like 15 layers of it, like because it just wouldn't sound good on the mic.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, put more layers on it, it'll sound good, kind of a thing.
It was probably a huge transition whenever you get to like a professional studio.
Oh my god. Well, the thing is, like, even in college, like we were recording some people in like the dorm room. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew this, but me and Garrett went to college together.
Well, I know Garrett played for Duquesne as well. So
Yeah.
when you said that, I didn't want to make the assumption that. But yeah, no. Absolutely.
Yeah, we were like, dude, same year, like teammates, like lived on the same like floor, lived in the same house like the last 2 years of college too.
For those who don't know, shout out Garrett Hunter, man.
Yeah.
Garrett Hunter was another engineer at ID Labs as well, but Garrett's out LA doing his thing right now, doing it real big. So shout out Garrett for sure.
Yeah, man. But no, like we were basically in college, like me and Garrett were always making beats together. Like he used FL Studio and I used Logic, but like we were always collabing and like we were always like recording different people like just for fun. Like it was a good time, man.
Hell yeah, man. So you both kind of went in a journey together.
Yeah, that's another person. Like I think we were always like pushing each other to like be better too. Like we would literally have like beat battles, like
really
in the dorm rooms.
Yeah,
like, yeah.
Did you have judges? Like, did you have people come through?
Dude, of course. Like the whole floor would come by and like just we would judge the beats or whatever. Like,
yeah,
it was cool.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Like so, how excited were like your classmates to know that you had like a real studio that you're recording at? Like the homies that you had coming by listening to the beats and stuff like that.
Oh, they like, dude, our college friends thought it was really cool at the time.
Were they super supportive?
Yeah. They like, I don't know. At first, everyone was like, "Man, that's like a pretty big like venture. You got to be careful." But
yeah,
it was exciting too at the time. Like,
yeah,
you know.
Now by this time, you're probably you're doing sessions. Had you had any moments where you seen like big artists come through and you're like, whoa, this is like a real thing? Or do you remember the first big artist that you seen and you're like, this is crazy. Like I'm trying
to think back to like I think that when I first started working there, I guess the first big artist I saw was like Lil Xan. Mm-hmm. I think he came like maybe a few months into me working there.
Yeah.
Because he came because Edan like produced a few tracks for him. Like he recorded it and like made the beat and everything.
Yeah.
That was probably the first one. And that was like a few months in. But like after that, I think that year there was a lot of people that came by. I just can't remember off the top of my head, but the thing is, it's like we're a studio that when all the big artists come into town, like they want to come to like that studio.
Right.
But the thing is, like lately, like even since COVID, not a lot of big artists have been like booking in Pittsburgh lately.
That's true. And that's a sad thing that I notice is like I think a lot of it is because the artists aren't really getting the crowd support when they come here, like especially for hip hop. Like it's real sad. I see artists that go other places and tour and they're killing it, selling out. They get to Pittsburgh, it's barely anyone in the room.
Yeah.
And
it's a tough sell, man.
It's a tough sell, man. And it's a tough city to play in. And a lot of times you even see artists come in and they'll book Pittsburgh, but they'll end up taking it off their touring schedule because low ticket sales.
Yeah, it's like, man, they can't after COVID, like I don't think they can really waste their time, and like expenses went up in tours, so yeah, that's just what it is. But still, like we get, like Wiz comes back every once in a while, like those kind of people. But I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like it's been a while. Like it's been a little while. Like this year, I don't think anyone like super huge has come in.
Yeah.
Like, but then again, there hasn't been like barely any shows this year either.
That's true. It's been kind of skimpy around here on shows for sure. So
yeah, and country singers too.
Yeah.
Once a year for
right. Like more popular artists in different genres are coming. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, like you said, a lot of country artists are coming to tour, but they seem to do well here, and that's the thing. Like we know that artists can sell here. It just seems like hip hop doesn't do well. Like I see country artists coming. They're selling out stadium. They're selling out Acashore. So we know it's possible, but just for whatever reason, Pittsburgh's really just never embraced hip hop in that way.
But it's like I'm trying to think. Like, well, just a few weeks ago, like, do you remember Cap G? Like he won the Double XL. Like he came in a few weeks ago with one of my sessions. Like they did a song together. So it's like still we'll get some like bigger artists in, but it's kind of just by like coincidence usually.
Yeah, I remember Cap G.
It's not like people like set out to go to like this studio,
Right. I remember Cap G was on the movie Dope. He had a song I liked. He had a song I liked a lot, and then I remember he had like a cameo in the movie Dope. I'm not sure if you ever seen.
No.
Super
never.
dope movie. Check it out, man. It's got like A$AP Rocky in it.
Oh really?
Yeah, he's like one of the big figures in it. It has like a soundtrack by NERD, so that's fire. But check it out, Dope.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, Cap G's in there. I think Vince Staples makes a appearance in there.
What?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Super dope movie. It's like an underground movie. What's Puff Daddy's kid? He's in it, but it's just a dope ass movie with a dope ass soundtrack. But Cap G's in that as well. He makes an appearance. So
I didn't even know he had an acting debut.
Yeah, I think they just like threw. I think it was one of those things, and it's a really good movie. Like it's not even like his acting was bad, but I think they just threw like a whole bunch of artists in there for the culture because it was kind of hip hop based. Like it was kind of not a hip hop movie, but it was along that same vein.
What's called dope? Like,
yeah, it's along that same vein. You feel me? So yeah, that shout out to Dope for sure. Hell yeah. So what do you got going on right now? So what have you been working on? Are you working more with artists on a production end? Are you are you focusing more on engineering? Like where are you at with it right now, present day?
man, so right now, just like been in the daily grind of like recording, making beats, trying to make like YouTube videos and content,
Yeah.
trying to keep my beat store uploaded. Those are basically all the things I'm focusing on right now. You know, recording a few podcasts here and there, like
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Like as far as like long term goals, like obviously I want to open up like my own studio one day, but
Yeah, is that something you want?
yeah, absolutely, man. I think that's something everybody wants. You know,
Really? Yeah.
I would say probably every producer, you know, that's their long term goal. Like,
That's not a bad one to have, right?
but I'm basically just I'm in a good routine right now, man. Like I'm working, I'm busy, you know, making beats. Like, so I'm just trying to keep it going, basically.
Yeah, trying to keep the momentum.
Yeah,
And I know you've been doing a lot of stuff to build contact, like you've been doing the beat videos and things like that. Is that something that you're passionate about? Is creating content, or is that something you find that you do out of necessity, or
you
is
know
it a little
what?
bit of both?
It's a little bit of both. Like, it's fun, but it sucks when you on weeks you're really busy. It feels like work.
Yeah.
Like if that was my job full time, was just like making YouTube videos about making music, like I would love it.
Right.
But like it kind of feels like homework sometimes because I'm like, oh, I give myself like a set amount of like 2 hours to do it or whatever.
Right.
You know.
Like and for you, like I mean, I'm very grateful for you for being here today, and I know for you guys in the engineer world, like time is important. Time is very important because you guys are working with people on their time. You're booking sessions,
Only
you know,
so many hours in the day.
so many hours in a day, and you guys also have to make your money as well. Like, so what is that difficult in this world? Because I know hip hop artists aren't the most punctual. They're not the most reliable. Do you have a problem with like professionalism when it comes to booking sessions and working as an engineer?
I mean, dude, yeah, that's definitely part of the job, but it's like I'm at the point now where like if you guys aren't gonna like book correctly at the studio, like we're too busy. Like we're not like we don't really need like the business like that, you know?
Right.
Like
You
if
can be
you're
more
to,
selective with who you're booking with.
yeah, exactly. Like if you're gonna come very unprofessional, like maybe an engineer there won't book you, you know, like
Yeah.
most likely.
Give the artist some tips as to what you're looking for as far as professionalism is concerned
Oh
in
man,
booking a session.
it's pretty easy. Like all you have to do is just show up on time and that's it. Like come prepared. You know, you don't even have to come prepared. If you just want to come hang out for an hour or two, that's cool. But like
Right.
I don't just come on time and like
Leave on
like,
time, right?
pay the right amount. Yeah, like there's not too many things. Like oh, and if you make a mess, just like clean it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's not too many things, man.
Yeah, and artists definitely don't take these guys' time for granted, and understand like if you're canceling sessions and things like that, that's money out their pocket that they could have booked with someone else.
Oh yeah, that too. I guess like don't cancel a session on the same day, that kind of thing. And if
Right.
you do cancel it on the same day, like pay him for it. Like yeah,
Yeah.
pretty standard stuff. Like
Are
go
you
to-
are you pretty flexible with that? If someone came to you and was like, "Hey man, I can't make it. Let me pay you for this session, and can we postpone it to another time?" Would you be willing to work with someone who was upfront with you like that?
Well, here's the thing: is like if you book a session with me and like cancel it on the same day, like you still owe the same money because like there's probably 5 other dudes that hit me up that day that
Right.
were like, "Hey, can I get this time slot?" And I had to tell them no.
Exactly.
So if you only tell me like a few hours before, like I tell everybody like give them like 24 hours. Like,
Yeah.
just like a day's notice is cool. But of course, like, dude, if you get in a car accident on the way there, like, you're not gonna get charged for the session. Like,
Right.
there's
Right.
wild shit that happens. Like,
Yeah.
but like, usually you could tell, like, whatever the situation is, man. Like, you got to be flexible. Like,
Right.
but on most occasions, it's like people just like forget, honestly, and
Yeah.
they're honest about it. They're like, yo, like, I forgot, dude. Like,
Yeah.
that happens all the time.
Dude, what happens on those days? You just find something else to do. Like, fuck it, I'll mix this track. I'll mix this
Yeah,
track.
I mean,
or
dude,
I'll-
I always have work to do. So if
Right.
like someone doesn't want to show up, and that's cool, man. I'll work on like this other mix I have to do. Like,
Right.
it's like there's always something to do now, man.
What's your favorite part of like engineering and producing? Do you enjoy more making beats? Do you enjoy more recording vocals? Do you enjoy more of the mixing? What's like the thing that you find the most pleasure in?
It's probably changed over the years. Like I really do like mixing now as compared to like when I started. I hated it.
Yeah,
I think it's just when you get better at something though, you're like, oh, this is cool. Like I like doing it.
yeah,
But I think making beats is still like the most fun.
yeah.
Yeah, just because it's like purely creative. It's not like as technical. Like mixing is like you're kind of sitting there like a chemist trying to figure things out. You know.
Right.
Like,
Do you have like a way to do it now? Do you listen to like reference tracks whenever you're mixing?
yeah, like especially if like let's say you go record a track in another studio, like
Right.
I want to hear like what you guys did at that studio just so I don't get like too far away from it.
Yeah,
But then I'll put like my own little spin on it too.
yeah,
But for like but most people I mix like the reference track is for me, at this point. Like I'm
Right.
like the one recording it. So it's like if you record it in my room and everything, like I could probably mix it like super fast.
right. Because you already know how everything sounds from the dry vocals,
Yeah.
so it's probably a lot easier for you to work with it from scratch that way as opposed to getting it.
Dude, the biggest thing is like you just need clean vocal takes. Like that's
Yeah.
it, man. That makes your job so much easier as a mixer. Like you can do so much less work on that end if you just have like good vocal takes. Like you don't have to do all this extra work.
Yeah. So if an artist is sending you something to mix, how do you prefer to have it sent to you?
That's another man. People send files crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, just like well, I tell people if they work out of Pro Tools or Logic, just send me like the Pro Tools or Logic project. But if you do like FL or Ableton, just like stem out the audio files and then like I'll take care of the rest.
Is it difficult when they're using a program that you're not using for the mix?
It is because like I wish they could just send it to me so I could just do all the work for them because like man, people screw everything up,
Yeah.
Like, but it's all good, man. I think most people could figure it out.
Yeah.
Or like I'll send them like a little YouTube video like how to stem out things on FL Studio or
Right.
whatever. Like,
Oh, that's super helpful. Give them like a step-by-step tutorial.
yeah, like dude, so
That's
people can
dope.
figure it out. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, that's dope. Hell yeah. So working in a studio like that, like have you seen like and recording so many sessions, like what's the craziest thing that you've seen?
The craziest. People always ask me this too. And like, what do you mean by crazy? Just like the
Just like-
coolest thing you think I've seen? Like,
Okay, so we can go that route too, right? So all right, let's do the coolest thing and just like the most absurd. Like I can't believe I just seen that happen. I'm like, I can't believe this guy is or gal is doing this.
well, man, I don't know if you hear some of the songs people record, you would have that same feeling. You'd be like, whoa.
I bet, man. I bet.
But I don't know, man. Like I've seen people do like wild drugs on the table, like like people snorting like pills, like coke, like stuff like that. But I don't know. That's just like pretty. If you go to college, like you see that kind of stuff.
Right,
like,
right.
pretty
And in
common.
music in general, right? Like most guys are like partying, you know what I mean? Like everybody's
Yeah, most people are just like smoking weed though, or whatever.
yeah,
Um,
regular stuff.
yeah. As far as like crazy things, like I'm trying to think because like I feel like a lot of the crazier stuff I think happened like when I first started working there too, like in 2018 to 2020. Like it's so weird. I feel like things like since then have just chilled out. you know?
Really?
Like I swear in 2018 to 2020, like there was just like so many more people at the studio. Like it was always like a party on the weekends.
Yeah.
Like the energy definitely changed like since then.
What do you think caused that, or what would you feel responsible for that change?
I think maybe just a little weird reset during COVID. Like I guess I don't know, people kept their numbers down after that for the sessions. Like maybe people just enjoy smaller sessions now. Like I couldn't really tell you.
Yeah,
Like,
that would make sense. Maybe if you're someone who's used to coming with an entourage, and now you can't come with an entourage, and you're like, oh, you know what? I actually
you
like
drop
this.
the entourage and you're like, this is okay.
This is actually better. Yeah,
yeah, like it could be that, or it could just be like, I don't know. I couldn't really tell you.
everybody
think
got
all the-
locked up for those PPP loans, and they couldn't even come back no more. Like, damn, homie's locked up, bro.
Dude, shit.
Like, bro's not here no more.
What's crazy? I wonder how many of my clients disappeared like that.
You would never know.
Yeah. Dude, it's crazy. I'll have like a client text me every once in a while. They're like, yo, like I'm out. Like I'm trying to get some time. I'm like, damn.
Like, damn, you're home, bro. I didn't even know you were gone.
Yeah, it was like, dude, no wonder I haven't seen you in like a year. Like,
Yeah, like damn, bro.
like I didn't even think about it. Fuck, man.
Now, so you're doing this all day. I always wondered, like, does that wear on your ear? Does it make it hard to like distinguish, like, for yourself, even like what's good and what's bad? Like, damn, I'm not sure. Like, I've been listening to music all day. I'm not sure if this sounds right to me. Do you have days like that?
I think it only gets bad when you're listening to like bad music all day.
Yeah.
I could listen to good music all day and not really get worn out. But if you're just listening to straight ass all day,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you get sessions like that? Just a full day of bad?
Like, of course, like when I first started there, like, dude, that was like probably half of them.
Because people weren't familiar with you.
Yeah, but nowadays it's like maybe 90% good clients, like maybe
good.
like 10%, like maybe one song out of 10 will be like terrible.
Yeah.
But you know, it's not as bad as it used to be. But when I started, like I basically just had to take like whatever random sessions were like calling in at the studio, like that kind of thing.
You find yourself more selective now with whom you book sessions with?
Dude, absolutely, because like, man, I'm already like my schedule's like filled like all the time, so it's like I really want to work with like good artists and help them out too, man. Like people that have potential, like help them build songs and like actually produce for them.
Oh, that's dope. So do you find, are you invested in the songs that you're recording?
No, is it like more so in like the song structure, because a lot of artists like don't really know how to put together a song. Like they'll be rapping for like 32 bars, like 48 bars, like some weird amounts, 10 bars even. Like it's like, what the hell are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Like, but just helping people out with like that kind of a thing, man.
Have you found yourself doing that more often? Like as you got comfortable in your engineer chair, are you finding yourself to be more vocal? Like, hey man, let's try this, let's do this.
Dude, absolutely, and just getting more comfortable and actually knowing like song structure too, like just seeing it be done by like so many artists, like just learning.
I think that's super
but
helpful.
The thing is, like, you have to find like you can't really give people advice that don't want it though. Like,
yeah,
I know which clients of mine like want that advice and which ones don't. Like, not everyone's super receptive.
No, exactly, and that's what I was gonna say. I know, like, I think it's super cool when an engineer is invested and they tell you like, hey, you can do that better, or hey, why don't you try it? Like, I think that's like a really good engineer to me, is like when you don't even have to talk much. You know what I mean? Like he already knows like, oh, you messed that up, I'm just gonna start you over. Like we're not even like it's unspoken. And you know what I mean? I think like that's the sound of an engineer, and you're not wasting their time and they're not wasting your time. Because I've been in sessions where it's real bad, and you got a guy playing on his phone or playing on a computer, and you're like, hey, run that back, bro.
And they're like just sitting there like duplicating tracks, like being slow. But that's the thing, man, is like when you pay for like those like 30-40 an hour studios, like that's what you get. You know, like you get dudes that are just starting out, like that don't really care, know, that don't have the knowledge. But not that there isn't really good engineers for that price too, but it's like you're less likely to find them, especially
you
like
pay for.
Especially in the city. Like that's just how it is.
You get what you pay for. It's
like,
definitely.
I've seen the same thing, dude. Like it honestly, like that's my biggest pet peeve is like I hate going to other studio sessions and watching an engineer that's worse than me, like just on the boards. Like that just like infuriates me, man. I'm just like, bro, like come on, like let's go. Like
you're wasting these people's money.
Yeah, and it's like, man, like at that point, like I just want to hop in, but I'm like, this isn't
me.
Yeah. But man, that's the best thing is like you got to be quick, man. Like, all the guys at the labs like quick,
super quick. Yeah. No, and that's what it is, because it's someone's hard-earned money that they're spending, and every second and every minute counts, because you only have but so much. I mean, you want to get the most value out of your money, so it's important to have a good engineer who knows what they're doing, who's intent to what you're doing, and who's invested in what you're doing. And they don't have to be invested to the point where they're actually producing a track, but at least to the point where they're paying attention and they know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, and that makes all the difference in the world to an artist. And I mean, that's one of the things I think make you special, because I see you do care. I see you at shows for artists that you record for, and that's that's rare. I mean, a lot of engineers don't do that. So you're actually showing a genuine interest, and I think that's what helps make artists want to mess with you even more. Like, this dude really cares about my craft. Like, of course I want to work with him. I want to invest in him because he's invested in me.
Oh man, look, that's the thing is like I don't know what, like you want to go to like your client shows, man. Like that's the music you're working on. Like to see it in that capacity is like the coolest thing. Like that's where it's supposed to be, So to see it come from like my computer to like people are actually enjoying it now, like that's the coolest thing, man. Yeah, like I love seeing that. Like,
have you had any songs that you recorded that you were anxious to see perform? Like, I wonder what this would be like in front of a crowd.
Oh, man, honestly, all of the new music that Fed has been recording, I'm very anxious to see how that's going to do in front of a crowd.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen how some of it does in front of a crowd, like in Sunfest, but like the album as a whole, basically.
Sunfest. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. So, Fed to God is who we're referring to.
Yeah.
Shout out Fed to God. Taylor Gang. You were down Sunfest with Fed.
Yeah, in West Palm Beach, Florida.
Yeah, man, that's lit. How was it?
Dude, it was sick, man. He opened up for A Boogie on Saturday night. The festival was like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah.
There was a ton of artists. Like the night before, we saw Flo Rida and the Chainsmokers. Like those were the two headliners.
Oh man, that's probably crazy there.
Oh, that was sick, man.
You know, Flo Rida's like top 10 all-time selling artists in hip hop.
Really?
Yeah,
I mean,
like,
dude, I would believe
he's
it.
high on the list too. He's like 5 or 6.
After listening to him perform, like I forgot how many hits he had.
Yeah.
Man. Like,
It's crazy.
He's up there.
You never think about that if you think about like, oh, who's the top 10 selling hip hop artist? For me, that wouldn't be someone whose name would come up for me just authentically if I didn't know that.
Dude, he's a radio king.
Radio king, like movie soundtracks, all that type of stuff, right? From doing that. So you guys were down Sunfest. You were getting it in. It was also your birthday, huh?
I went to Florida 2 weeks before that for my birthday too.
Okay.
So it was like, dude, 2 Florida trips like back to back.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, man. It was just celebrating my birthday for like a whole month.
Turning up.
Yeah, we went to Miami. Me and Fed went to Miami like 2 weeks before that too. So it was like a lot of Florida action lately.
Yeah.
But he didn't perform like at that point.
At that trip, yeah.
He only performed at the West Palm Beach.
Nice.
Dude, that show was sick, man.
Was it?
A really good turnout. And it was like, it's like 2 stages, like right on the water, like right on the beach.
Yeah.
Really cool vibes.
Oh man, I couldn't imagine. I couldn't even imagine. So you get to see the stuff that you were working on live in front of this audience. You get the whole vibe of it. What was that like for you?
I mean, man, that's really cool. Like I said, man, that's the craziest thing to see it come from like just some small little room to like seeing how people react to it like in real time. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like just the way, like, shout out to him though, because like he's an awesome performer. Like the way he's able to deliver those songs too, like insane, man.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole part of it too. Like him, his DJ Yemi too.
Yeah.
Like that's a huge part of it, man. Just like the whole performance, like.
And stage presence is such a big deal for performing and confidence, right? And he oozes all of that stuff. Like he has incredible stage presence from doing it so often, right? Being so polished in it and just, you know, constantly working at it. He has such a crazy stage presence, and you know, and him building the chemistry with a DJ like Yemi, because they do a lot of performances together. So I'm sure that they have this down to a science.
Oh yeah, dude, you got to see them. They kill it, man.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It's like nothing, man.
Hell yeah.
Like I even asked him, I was like, man, like, are you ever nervous? He's like, no, like I love this.
Yeah, of course.
But I guess that's like probably every artist. That's like, I'm a producer. I don't want to be in the spotlight anyway. Like,
right. You're
know,
more behind the scenes type guy.
Yeah, but that's like every artist's dream is to perform in front of people.
Yeah, that's the ultimate high, is to be in front of people and see them enjoying. If for those who watch the show or that's been on here, I often liken it to a cook. You know what I mean? And when you're cooking, you do it for other people. You want to see the enjoyment in their face. Eating your meal, it's the same thing. People are eating your meal. You know, they're listening to you and they're enjoying it. And you're like, oh, this is what it's all for. It's
dude, one thing I recommend to artists, like people, like artists always ask me like what. I don't know why they always ask me this about like performance, but they like, you know, how do I get a good performance? I'm like, man, you should go see comedians.
Yeah.
Because that crowd work will teach you so much about how to engage.
Yeah.
Like that's the most important thing, is like the crowd work, man.
Yeah.
Even at a show, like especially if people don't know you or know your songs, like you need to talk to them a little bit.
Right.
How else are you gonna even like build that connection? You can't just be playing your random music.
Right.
Like,
yeah. No, that's good ass advice, bro. That's good ass advice.
I don't know. You just have to think of it like in different terms. Like,
yeah.
Think of it as like, hey, what if these people don't know you, don't know your songs? Like, it's like a conversation, basically.
Yeah.
Like you're just,
you got to step out of your shoes and be that audience member for that period of time. And what would I want to hear if I'm watching someone perform?
Yeah, definitely go to the improv though too, and just see how they work. Like,
yeah,
that's the best advice, man.
Do you like a lot of stand-up comedy?
I do. I like go to the improv sometimes. Like,
do you?
Yeah, I go see like a few stand-up comedians when they come, but like I'm not like super into it. I just think it's like it's cool, man. It's interesting.
It is cool.
Like,
it is cool, and it takes a certain skill set. Like those guys are really talented. Like you said, to have audience command, and at least with music, it's already predetermined what's going to happen. Like you already know what the song is going to do. With comedy, you got to have comedic timing. Like you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how the audience is
always changing.
Right. So I can see, like, that's a very good thing to say. Like I like what you said there. Like, see how these guys work and liking your performance to what they're doing.
Dude, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello. Yeah, we've got the people here live for you. For those just tuning in, we have JD Made This with us. Shout out JD.
We're back. We're in Uniontown.
Yes, Bunch of Bull Studios, of course. Every Friday for you guys, live at 8 p.m. Definitely come through and check us out. Like, share, subscribe. Isn't that what they say? Something like that.
That is what. Yeah. This is what the kids say.
That's what the kids say these days. But hell yeah, man. So you guys went down Sunfest, had a good time.
Oh man, it was crazy. I love Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
honestly, West Palm Beach was like a little bit weird compared to like Miami or like Orlando, but I still like it. It was cool.
You went at a good time too, because it's not like super hot either. It's not summertime.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't vibe with Florida, bro. It'd be way too hot there for me.
Way too hot. Way too many bugs too in the summertime.
And the humidity is crazy. Like it's not even. I don't know how humans endure it every year. I couldn't do it.
No, man. That's why I don't know. That's why a lot of people like they'll leave Florida for like those like 2 months in the summer and then just come back after that.
Yeah,
it's so hot.
Snowbirds. We have a lot of snowbirds here. People that leave for the wintertime.
Oh yeah, well, dude, because the winters here
brutal.
Yeah, I would rather have those super hot summers than the super cold winters.
I don't know if I can always add layers on. It's always my mantra. I can only take but so much off at a time, but
at least with it being appropriate.
Yeah, exactly. But no, yeah. So Sunfest was a good time. Now, as far as production, where are you at with that right now? Do you have like any projects that you're working on with any particular artists? Are you
You know what, man? There's been a ton that like I've been working on with artists, but it's like none have been like in the immediate like they're ready to come out right now kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Like I probably have like there's probably like 10 to 15 different things all going on at the same time, but like none of them are really like ready to go, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Is that exciting for you when you hear people recording to your music?
It is, but it's like, man, like let's wrap it up already, you know?
Yeah, you want to see what's going to happen with it.
Like I want these tracks to come out, you know?
Yeah. You're probably anxious. You're probably more anxious than even the artist sometimes to see what the reaction is going to be, how it's going to sound.
Dude, yeah, because you don't know how many times it's like you'll make a beat for someone and it's like it doesn't come out for like a whole year later. You're like, man,
what's going on with this?
Yeah, like it's crazy.
Is that nerve wracking as well? Just like not even knowing, like I gave this to someone. Do they like it, or what's going on with this? Are they going to use it, or are they not going to use it?
That's the thing too. Is like, man, I'll like keep sending out the same beat too, unless someone like buys it exclusively. Like, so
yeah.
If you, I don't know, if you like made a song on it and like you're too lazy to like get it done and put it out or whatever, like and someone else like buys it, like it's over, you know?
Yeah.
It is what it is.
They got to deal with the consequences of what comes after that.
People get upset about it, but it's like can't hold these beats forever, you know.
Well, they shouldn't get upset. And this is the thing about it being professional in the business. If you want the beat to be exclusive, then buy the exclusive rights from it.
And I think even like, dude, it was like Metro Boomin.
Perp Boy wants to buy a beat for sure.
What's up, Perp Boy?
How can people get a hold of you to get beats from you?
Oh, you could go to my website, like www.jdmadethis.com, or you could just like shoot me a DM on Instagram. Because if you reach out to me and send me some of your music, like I'll be able to like actually handpick you like a pack of beats instead of you just going through my website and you know. I love when artists send me music then because then I just know exactly what to send. Yeah. You know, like I'll send you like 10 to 20 beats that are like I know you'll like.
You're gonna be sorry you said that. You're gonna have everybody flooding your DM with their mixtapes. Like, listen to me.
No, that's cool, man. No, send me the music. Like, I'll send you guys beats that are perfect for it. Man.
Just send JD the music, man. Go mess with JD. You won't be mad, man. You won't be mad at all. You mess with JD. Definitely get with him on the beats. Have him record you. Have him do all that stuff for you. You're not going to be mad. I promise you that.
No, it'll turn out right, man. We'll make sure.
100%. 100%. There you go.
Absolutely, Perp Boy.
There you go. But for sure, man. So we're doing Sunfest. We're doing the beats. We're back home now. What's going on now? What's
now, man? Well, now it's summertime, man. So the studio is like the busiest it ever is, just because I don't know, it gets hot and people want to come to the studio. Apparently,
it's cool in the studio.
Yeah,
but always nice.
So this summer, the plan is just keep working, saving up money, buy more music equipment, just keep the ball rolling on everything, man. Yeah. Like the plan is just to keep going, keep
grinding.
Yeah, everything's moving so far, so just got to keep doing the same things.
And I know you said your ultimate goal is to have a studio of your own. Are you actively working towards getting there, or is that just something that you know that you want?
No, absolutely. I mean, that's part of just saving money, and this is just picking up more equipment as you go along.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing is when I first got into the studio, I didn't have a lot of equipment, but then you just slowly start getting more mics and everything, and then you just have like extra equipment, and then you have enough equipment for another studio, like that kind of a thing.
I'd imagine working at the studio is probably helpful for you too, as knowing what equipment that you actually need.
Oh yeah,
Because you're probably seeing things there, and you're like, "Oh, I didn't even realize that this made this sound this much better."
like dude, every pretty much all like the rooms of the studio, like A, B, and C, they pretty much all have like the same equipment now,
Right.
like same mics, like almost the same compressors, like very similar booths. Like,
Yeah, I've noticed that.
yeah, like the A room used to have that C800 mic, but now we all have like the Newman U87. So it's like wherever you go in there, it's going to sound the same.
It's going to sound the same, yeah.
Yeah.
The difference is just the size of the actual. Oh, look, that's dope. Got the jdmadethis.com down there. Definitely tune in with bro.
Right behind me there.
There he is. But yeah, no,
sick.
absolutely, definitely getting good sound out of that. So for an aspiring engineer and producer, what type of advice would you give them if they're looking to make this their career?
Oh man, well, honestly, ever since like when I started doing it, like obviously the game has changed a lot.
Right.
I would say nowadays, like if you want to make a living off of music, your best bet is, just like getting in with a local studio or getting in with artists and building some clients that you don't even have to have a studio. Like you can go pay to rent rooms out for like, $30 an hour or whatever, you charge the artist like double that, you make $30 or whatever. I would just suggest kind of doing that, like trying to get in the studio with real artists, because that's going to make you a way better producer at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find that to be the case for you? Like the more you started working with artists, hearing different sounds, did that inspire you to start messing with different things, messing with different sounds?
Dude, absolutely.
Yeah.
Another thing I was gonna say too, like for you young producers, is I guess like maybe get on Instagram too. Like, go through like hashtags, go look for like upcoming rappers that like you want to work with, and you'll have to give out like a few free beats here and there, but try to charge people like at least something, every once in a while, and like just get the ball rolling on that.
And that's the thing that I find a lot of my guests say that they invested in themselves in some type of way, and anytime and that's what you're saying is like give away those beats. That's an investment in yourself, proving that like I believe in myself. And anytime you plant that seed money, you do that investment, it usually comes back tenfold. Like you usually get some type of fruit from that seed.
Right. You just have to make sure you're investing in like the right things though, and the right people.
Right.
Because you could be investing it in the wrong people and wasting time.
And I guess your path is one is like it's I hate to say this because I mean you done things to get there, but it's pretty lucky, right?
Well, yeah, dude, definitely. I think it's a lot of luck,
Yeah, being at the right place, right time.
Yeah.
I'm also doing the work to do it, because I mean, how many people would love to be in your seat, right? To have your seat every day, to be where you're at, to work with artists who are actually making moves, artists who are making noise, artists who are touring, artists who are performing live, and you're doing this, day in and day out.
But here's the thing, man. A lot of people, once they get there, they cannot handle it.
Yeah.
That's why very few people can actually do it. And that's why, very few people can work at like studios like that. It's because it's a hard job, man.
Have you seen a lot of people come and go?
Dude, more absolutely.
Yeah.
You don't realize how many people get burnt out of being an engineer within like, 3-4 years.
What's the biggest frustration you've seen other people take on, or the reason that other people can't cut it?
Mostly like the unprofessionalism of the clients. Like they just can't deal with it. Like they could be like really good engineers, but like they just get burnt out and like at a certain point.
Just off of people.
Yeah. Or just like it's not for a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people just try to force themselves to do it for the money, but you really have to want to do it.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, the money doesn't come right away either, right? Like there's a lot of times that you just gotta take lumps, and you're kind of paying your dues along the way, and without the payment and without the reward.
Exactly, dude.
So
like
you can't be afraid to take those lumps.
You'll barely be making money like the first year you do it, professionally. That's just what it is.
And definitely pay attention to that. Like you'll barely make money. You're talking to someone who does this for a living. Like you have to be willing to make those sacrifices and pay those dues if it's something that you truly want to do.
True that. You have to invest too, man.
Have to invest.
Got to invest a few thousand in the equipment at first, just to start, and then got to keep it going after that.
You may not see that immediate payoff.
No, most likely you won't.
Right. So you just got to remember that investment is going to take time to get some return on it. Get that return on investment, so you can't be afraid of that. And I know for yourself, you and I have a lot of conversations, and we talk about things, and I know you do other things, like you diversify. You're not just counting on music to make your bread? I know you've done some DJing.
Oh yeah, of course. That's something I really want to get into more this summer. So hey, if you guys need any DJs for your parties, let me know.
Yeah, yeah. You trying to do some more DJing?
Yeah, dude, absolutely.
What type of DJing have you done so far? Have you done like?
And it's not even so much for the money, like, cause I make good money at the studio.
Yeah.
Like, I just like I love doing different shit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
What is it about DJing that gives you a thrill?
oh man, you get to be at the party. You get to it's like you're performing the music, but you're not.
Right.
Like, you're controlling like the whole vibe of the party.
Yeah.
Really cool stuff.
Oh, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. We're glad to hear that.
Oh, awesome, man. Great.
Yeah, that's what's up. And that's a cool thing about this, and that's what I want to make this platform for. Not only like to discover more about you, to learn more about you, but I hope it can be a tutorial, and the artists that I bring on, they can teach the people something along the way too. Maybe see some of the bumps and bruises that they took along the way, so other people can avoid them. Maybe even some of the technical things that you're talking about and breaking down, and the professionalism that you're looking for. Maybe make them a better artist, so that other engineers will want to record them. So someone like yourself, who's a little bit more choosier with their clientele, they'll see this and be like, okay, I know how to approach JD.
And like, dude, it's not even us too. It's like, think about like, let's say you're in like Los Angeles here in like New York City. Like, if you want to book one of those really nice studios, like you have to figure out how to write them a fucking email about it.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
you have to think of like you have to come at them the professional way. You have to send them the deposit, or like you'll never get in that room.
Right.
So it's just like it's better for everybody.
And I think a lot of artists take the professionalism part for granted. They don't understand that this is a business, and they don't understand, for you guys especially, even more so, it's a business. And for some people it might not be something that they're passionate about or a hobby or something like that, but it doesn't mean that you should waste other people's time.
And it's cool if you don't want to worry about the business and you just want to be an artist. If you have like a manager, but if you don't and you're just yourself, like you have to figure that shit out. Like you have to treat it like a business. Like,
have you seen? So I'm sure you've seen artists with managers, then you've seen artists without managers. Like what separates the successful artist with the manager from the successful artist without the manager?
That's interesting, man. That's a really good question.
That is a really good question.
You know what?
Have you seen both ends of the spectrum? Have you seen a successful artist that's working independently without management?
I wouldn't even contrast the two. Instead, I would say what's similar, and what's similar is like the overall organization. Like everything is planned out. You have like your resources, your contacts, like people for videos, for social media, for marketing, whether that's you yourself doing it or your manager doing it. And like everything's very laid out like a business, you know. Like it's thinking in terms of like profitability, cutting costs, like that's how
target marketing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just overall thinking of it like a business instead.
Yeah.
Obviously, like it's like managers can just help you basically organize your business
and help you focus more on being an artist.
Like if you have like a high powerful manager who has like all these industry connections, that's a different thing. But for most people in Pittsburgh, it's just like somebody helping them like with their business and helping them legitimize their business,
Yeah.
Just so people don't have to talk numbers with the artist, but they could talk numbers with the manager instead.
Yeah, and that's a difficult thing too for artists, right? Is finding the right person to do the management. Have you seen any of that? Like, have you seen like bad management as opposed to good management?
Oh, for sure, man. I mean, I would say most management you see is probably bad management,
right.
At least like on the local level.
Right.
Because it's just usually like a friend trying to help out, at this point. But, I don't know. A lot of times people would probably just be better off doing it
themselves.
On their own. Yeah. And the thing is, like, until you get to a certain point, like, you should be learning like these skills anyway, because that'll help you in the long run when you do actually get like a credible manager with resources. Like, I don't know, man. The more that you could learn and like the more that you could build yourself, like that's the more value at the end of the day.
Right. Like, because now you have that, and plus you know what you're looking for when you get a manager, right? If you're doing all of these things yourself, you can kind of distinguish between, oh, this is bad management. Like, I don't. Like, this guy's not doing what I need him to do. I can continue to do this by myself, or this guy's doing everything I need and he's making my life easier. I need to keep him around.
Exactly, dude. Yeah. Like it's there's a lot to think about, especially if you're splitting money with them too. Like you want to make sure that it's like worth the 10, 15, 20%, like whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah. But then again, like it's like not a lot of managers even want to like really do anything because they're not really getting paid. You know, it's
like, and that's the thing about it, right? Like good management should be getting paid as the artist is getting paid.
Right.
Like it shouldn't be any upfront money. I mean, some people do have those deals. I'm not a big proponent of it, but I think
that's a terrible idea.
It's a terrible idea, and people do take that
unless
on
they're offering you some crazy extravagant package, like
right. But they should certainly any money that they're bringing in, they should get a percentage of it. But if you're just paying them a lot of money up front, then what are they really doing for you?
That's the thing is artists always ask me like where the best place to put their money is. Like I truly don't know at this point.
Right.
Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you, man.
That's probably awkward for you too, because you probably get a lot of artists working in the studio that you work in. They probably think that you have
like some inside information.
Or more pull or juice or power than you actually have. Like they're probably waiting for you to put them on. Like sign me, man.
It's like what I can call up Spotify. Like put them on the playlist.
Exactly. But does that happen for you a lot? Like people get a misconception of what you're doing or who you are or what you're.
Well, dude, it's like not even that. It's like we'll get like random people call the studio and like leave voicemails like saying like, oh, like, you know, like is Rostrum Records signing me or like I don't know, like they want to like submit songs. Like I don't know. It's like a lot of that stuff.
I'm sure.
It's not like people that like I deal with personally like that.
No, they know better.
Yeah, it's just funny. Like I don't think people like misconceive that about me, but people definitely call the studio all the time, like asking like weird stuff like that.
I'm sure. That's probably like, what up, Velly? Shout out to everybody tuning in, man.
It used to be way worse. Like, dude, there used to be people like just showing up at the studio like in 2018. Like,
really?
Yeah, they would just be like showing up, like asking for like is Wiz here? Like, I don't know, just like random shit.
Oh
like,
man, that's got to be so awkward.
Even to this day, people still come and like try to like get sessions like randomly at the door, and we're like, dude, like we have a website, we have a phone number, you can just call. Like, you don't have to show up to the door. Like,
that's a good point. What's the best way for people to book sessions if they want to record at ID Labs?
Well, you guys don't have to show up to the door.
Yeah, please don't show up to the door.
You could man, if you want, like if you know like any of the names of the engineers, like you could just reach out to them on Instagram. Like a lot of people reach out to me on there, but a lot of people just hit up like the studio website, like idlabsmusic.com, and there's like a contact form and like a phone number you could call. All the phone numbers get like sent to like our Gmail, so like we see like the voicemails and everything. So,
very dope. So if you guys are looking to book a session, feel free to go to idlabs.com. You guys can reach out to these guys personally through IG. Of course, we're going to have JD share all of his information before we get up out of here as well. Definitely reach out to him for the beats as well. He's got the fire bangers for you. And he'll hook you up with the beat pack. You heard him, send him the music. He'll listen to you, but don't expect him to sign you. He's not going to do that.
Yeah, we don't have the money for that.
Yeah, he's not signing you. Not yet, anyways, huh?
No, I don't think I'm. That's not in my purview. That's a lot of drama.
It feels like it would be difficult, right? Like dealing with artists on that level.
Yeah, like
I couldn't imagine. Hell
sweet.
Yeah. Hell yeah. But yeah, so so before we leave, do you have anything for me? Do you have anything you're working on? Anything you want to tell the people about?
Man, so
anything we missed?
I'm actually starting a podcast soon.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's gonna be it's me and this other dude, his name's Colin Ray. He's like a TikToker.
Okay.
He's from Pennsylvania too, but it's gonna be pretty cool, man. Like one of our first guests is gonna be Fed, but we're gonna have a lot of other cool guests coming on. So
yeah,
I'll keep you guys updated on that, man.
Oh, that's very cool, man. What's the premise of the podcast?
So basically, it's just gonna be everything, man. Like we're just gonna be chopping it up every week about like pop culture, and then including that, like we're just gonna have like cool guests on, like
hell yeah.
It's gonna be like like people in sports, people in music. Like there's gonna be no limitations. Really.
Oh, that's a lot of fun, man. Are you a big sports fan? I know you played football in college. Are you a big sports guy?
Like decently, man. Big sports betting guy for sure.
Yeah, yeah, that gets dangerous, man.
Oh no, definitely. But yeah, like I don't know. We're just trying to get like whoever we know that's like kind of popular to come on and like just have a conversation.
Have something to offer, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like just cool people to talk to.
Where's that going to be available at? Do you guys have a platform that you're
Yeah, it's gonna be on like like Spotify, like everywhere you could find a podcast and YouTube. But we're gonna be shooting the first episodes in the next few weeks.
Okay.
We're waiting until we get about 5 episodes to just drop them all.
Okay. Do you guys have a name for that as of yet?
We do, but we haven't confirmed it yet, so I don't want to drop it yet. Yeah, I know. That's why I was like, man, I don't even want to bring it up.
No, we won't spill the beans, but definitely be on the lookout for it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But I'll tell you guys all about it as soon as it's out. We're still like kind of planning, but
we gotta have you back after you drop some episodes, man. We gotta definitely touch base about that.
Absolutely, man.
It'll be great. So definitely give the people your social media. Give them the best way to get a hold of you if they want to get a hold of you.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you guys can find me at www.jdmadethis.com.
Right at the bottom.
You can find me at jdmadethis on pretty much every platform, like TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. So we're here live at a Bunch of Bull Studios. We had JD made this in the studio with us today. Graced us with his presence. Hopefully you guys learned something today and were able to take a lot out of this podcast today. I know I certainly did.
I did too, man. This was a good combo.
Yeah, man. It was a lot of fun too. I'm glad you took your time out with us, man.
Yeah, this is dope, man. Love chopping it up with you.
Yeah, hell yeah. You're a guy. But yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in, and we hope to see you again next week.
Peace.